guys, welcome back to the channel. Major Scott here from the Major Reviews It. Today we're going to continue on with my review, the in-depth review I did of my 2024 GMC Denali Ultimate. My first video, we went bumper to bumper, inside and outside, and previewed what an $86,000 luxury truck gets you. So we saw some of the interior, exterior features. Now we're going to go ahead and take this thing on the road and see how it drives. I'm also going to be looking at fuel economy with this 3.0 Duramax diesel engine, and we'll look at what kind of fuel economy you can expect in mixed highway and city driving. And then we're going to do some Super Cruise demonstrations. I think Super Cruise is a pretty amazing feature, and that should be pretty cool too. We'll try to get Super Cruise into some challenging situations and see how it handles it. So I'm pumped. Let's get this thing on the road and see how she does. Okay, so we're on an interstate and we're accelerating up to speed, and the first thing you will notice behind the wheel of this 2024 GMC Denali Ultimate is the road noise, or lack therefore of. It's a very, very quiet truck, and at this price point it really should be. Most of the high-end trucks from Ford and Ram also offer a similar cabin experience. A lot of that is due to the suspension, but also due to the extra sound insulating glass that they use. So it really keeps a lot of road noise out. You don't hear a whole lot of buffer from the sunroof, and the truck really rides like a car. Okay, so before we get this truck out on the road, part of the road trip is going to be fuel economy. So I'm going to go ahead and top off with diesel right now, and we'll do a mix of city and highway driving. That way we can cross-check the trip computer and make sure it's accurate. So let's go ahead and finish up and fill this thing up, top it off, and we'll get back out on the road. And there's our 30 seconds. And that's the wrap. All right, back in the truck. We'll go ahead and get everything set up to where we'll get our mileage reset. Let's go ahead and reset the mileage there and there. All right, so it's showing us 602 miles of range. I anticipate that to actually increase once we get out on the road and start driving. So let's get back on the road. We'll do a mixture of city and then highway driving and get into that Super Cruise demo. Try to put Super Cruise in some situations where it has to think for itself, and I'll show you how impressive it actually can be. All right, so pulling out of the gas station, we'll go ahead and get back in to traffic and take a little stroll through some city driving, and then we'll get back out onto the interstate and give some demos on how smooth and quiet the truck is. And it really never ceases to amaze me how big these trucks are, but they actually move around pretty nimble in traffic. Okay, so I was finally able to get out of the gas station and merge into some traffic here. So let's go ahead and start with some city driving. We'll come over this bridge here over the Back Bay of Biloxi into Casino Row. Hit up a little bit of city driving, and then we'll get back out on I-10 and we'll explore Super Cruise and talk a little bit about how the truck drives. Now, some of the things that have been mentioned before, luxury trucks, they really drive like luxury cars, and that's one of the great benefits of these new trucks. You do pay a lot of money for them, but the tire packages and the suspensions have been tuned to where they really do drive like cars. The F-150 back in the early 90s was really the first truck that began driving like a car. Now the Ram, back then they were Dodge Rams, but now they're just the Ram trucks. They drive the best of all the half tons. I will concede that. However, it's not to a point where I think I'm going to buy the Ram over any other vehicle based on the fact that it drives that much better, because in the end, I don't personally believe that it does drive that much better. The Ram uses an air suspension, airbag suspension, which it does smooth out the bumps on the road, and it is nice, but to me, the money that you're going to have to pay down the road to get those airbags serviced and the benefit of a little bit smoother ride, it doesn't really equate to me, or it doesn't move the needle to me when it comes to terms to buying the vehicle. Now, everybody's different. Some people may say the Ram just drives so much nicer and that's a deciding factor, but really honestly, the F-150 Platinum Plus and the GMC Denali Ultimate, they're within arm's reach of the Ram as far as drive goes. Now, some of the things that people have talked about online regarding the GMC Denali and this 3-liter diesel is its use of oil, excessive oil consumption. Matter of fact, there is a TSB on the 23 models of the 3-liter Duramax diesel that talks about excessive oil usage. I just changed the oil on my truck yesterday, and I went ahead and did my own oil change. Very, very easy to do. I prefer to use AMSOIL. I know it's not a paid service announcement for AMSOIL, but AMSOIL has a synthetic oil that matches the parameters of what GMC recommends for this engine. So I went ahead and used AMSOIL, but really easy oil change, by the way. You know, these dealers on diesel oil services are just outrageous. But if it's something you're not comfortable with doing, hey, I get it. But me, I like to put my hands on the vehicle if I can and do those simple tasks. But anyway, I was monitoring the oil on a regular basis, which really honestly you should check your oil more often than I think a lot of us really do. But I didn't notice a drop of oil as far as consumption. Now, these trucks do come from the manufacturer overfilled, actually, and I believe that's probably due to that oil consumption. But this 24 model of the LZ0 3-liter Duramax, I didn't notice any oil usage whatsoever. Now, I do a lot of highway driving, but I also do a lot of city driving. I put 4,383 miles on this truck. I've got a lot of windshield time, and again, the oil consumption, knock on wood, has not been an issue for me at all. The second thing that I've noticed when I researched the Denali on this 3-liter diesel was DEF consumption for DEF fluid. Now, I again haven't noticed anything excessive about the DEF fluid. I did put in 2.5 gallons or 3 gallons, whatever the jug is. I did fill it and got it pretty close. But again, in 4,000 miles, 4,384 to be exact, almost 44. Let's see what my DEF consumption is when I scroll through. All right, I still have almost a half a tank of DEF fluid. So again, I probably got about half a tank when I got the truck, took possession from the dealer, and I got pretty close, 3/4 of the tank, maybe almost full when I topped it off. I've got just under a half a tank of DEF fluid. So that's acceptable to me. The GMC owner's manual does say that you may go through a tank of DEF fluid, and it does say that every 2,000 miles you may go through a tank and you may get an indication you need to refill. But again, this depends on a lot of different factors. Number one is towing. When you tow, you use a lot more DEF, and who knows, I haven't towed with the vehicle yet, so I imagine it would be towing would definitely increase DEF usage, and also long idling periods. You're also going to have issues with DEF consumption if you idle your truck. I personally don't like to idle it. They go into regen modes more often when you do idle, so that's just one more issue that you face. And that's a good segue into my next issue. Now, one thing I have noticed is the truck regens. The regens, of course, all diesels with these emissions control equipment will definitely go into regen. And what happens is, what you have is a diesel particulate filter, and when that particulate filter, it fills up with carbon, your truck will go into a regeneration mode where it will operate at extremely high temperatures and burn off that filter and that mesh in the filter and burn that carbon off. Now, what that does is there's a couple things that happen during a regen. Number one, and most noticeably, your diesel fuel mileage really goes down quite a bit. But the problem is, when you do go into regen, there's no indication. So it would have been nice if you had a light on the dash that maybe said, hey, I'm in regen mode. And the reason I would like a light or some type of indication is if you shut the truck off before it's done with its regen mode, it'll give you one more attempt when you start the vehicle up. So it's not really good to shut the vehicle down in the middle of a regen. But if you don't let the truck continue its regen cycle, you'll actually have to take the truck in, and it requires dealer intervention or dealer service to go ahead and clean that diesel particulate filter. And I don't know if that's covered under warranty or not, but I would think probably not. So it's pretty important not to let the truck shut down during the regen. But how are you supposed to know it's in regen if you don't have any indication other than the mileage goes down? Now, you can buy these systems from, I think Banks has one where it's a diesel monitoring system. It's another gauge, and you can put a gauge up there and it can go through and tell you a lot more than the GM is going to, than the GMC information cluster is going to tell you. But I personally, I don't want a gauge sitting on top of my dash. To me, it looks out of place, and it's just an extra thing that I shouldn't have to buy. So you do have your regens. Let's go ahead and do a quick U-turn here, and let's get this out on the interstate. Alright, so we're going to merge onto Interstate 10 en route to Mobile, Alabama. Now, first and foremost, the truck drives like you would expect a truck at this price point to drive. Just pretty incredible. I really love driving this vehicle on the highway. I do commute quite a bit to work, and I have had a lot of windshield time, and this truck is definitely a nice commuter, to say the least. So as you can see throughout the truck, lots of information, lots of stuff going on. You got the beautiful screen right here. I love this screen, and I love the orientation of it. As I mentioned before in my previous video, I did have a 2020 Ram 2500 Laramie Longhorn with the large screen that Ram, and let's face it, Ram pretty much pioneered the large screens in the trucks. They did everything, and pretty much all the manufacturers followed. They started that trend, and the Ram screen was really nice. I mean, it was just massive when you first saw it. It was incredible, but it almost looked like an iPad turned sideways. But I think that this one, to me, I like the orientation of it. It's not so in your face, but yet it's a very large screen. Matter of fact, this is bigger than the Ram screen by a little bit, a couple tenths of an inch, I believe. So we have the cruise control set at 71 miles an hour, and that's what we're doing. We're actually doing 72 according to the radar GPS. But right now, I am instantly polling at 30 miles per gallon, and there's 31. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is pretty amazing for a half-ton pickup. So let's go ahead and engage Super Cruise. So I'm steady. I already have adaptive cruise control set. I'm in the lane center, and I have an icon on my heads-up display and also on my dash where there's a steering wheel icon present, and that means that Super Cruise is present. So let's go ahead and hit the button under my gap control for my adaptive cruise control, and let's go ahead and Super Cruise. And when I do this, you're going to see a green illumination across this arc, and that tells me that Super Cruise is engaged. So I press the button, and there we have green. I can take my hands off the steering wheel. I do not have my feet on the brake or the accelerator, and neither hand is on the steering wheel. And the truck is virtually driving itself. Now you can see we do have cars passing on the left, and Super Cruise is maintaining that distance of the vehicle in front. Now we're going to have this vehicle here pull in front of me. Super Cruise sees that, and it slows a little bit and allows that gap to come back. Now if I want to tighten the gap up a little bit, let's take it to a 50-foot following. As long as I'm going the predetermined speed, which is 71, it won't tighten up that gap. It'll just maintain 71, but it's going to do one or the other. It's going to maintain my 71 mile an hour preset, or it's going to maintain that gap in front of me. And when you add Super Cruise in there, it will actually maintain the gap until it sees an opening, and it'll go around the vehicle. Now you see Super Cruise just flashing there because I put my hands in front of the camera. Super Cruise didn't like that. So it has to have an unobstructed view of your eyes and your face in order for it to stay engaged. Now I anticipate Super Cruise will be initiating a lane change shortly because I can see that the vehicle in front of me is slowing. And this is where Super Cruise is pretty amazing. Okay, so I got a vibration on my seat, it's slowing down, and it turned on the signal, and Super Cruise continues on driving. I didn't do anything in that instance. No hands on the wheel, and Super Cruise went ahead and initiated the driving. You have to, have your expectations. Now this guy's gonna, well, I want some challenging situations, and I definitely got them. You see how this moron in front of me decides to just slide right in, and that's a bad thing with Super Cruise. It's actually a good thing. It's going to brake and allow that cushion. However, you're going to get these aggressive drivers, unfortunately, that see that cushion, and they're going to take advantage of that. So that kind of sucks when you're driving. And Super Cruise is an option that I believe once everybody experiences, they won't want to drive without it. It makes your highway driving so much easier. Now I know some of you may have a hard time or trust issues with Super Cruise, but once you get the hang of it, and once you have used it enough and build that confidence, it truly is an amazing driving system. I did one time drive over 3 hours with Super Cruise engaged at night, and it was an amazing experience. Again, I drove in the middle of the early morning, early night hours, around midnight to 3 in the morning, and it performed admirably at night. I also am going to show you a video here of Super Cruise performance in rainy and wet, foggy type conditions. Again, performed admirably, no issues whatsoever. Now, some of the things Super Cruise definitely has challenges with. Super Cruise does not work on a large amount of interstates in the United States right now. They are improving it. One of the limiting factors, GM actually has 400,000 miles of interstate, which is a good bit, but there's a lot more work to be done when it comes to mapping these highways, which that no doubt will increase and improve over time. But it also doesn't work in town, and it's not meant to work in town, because what Super Cruise cannot do, it cannot negotiate stoplights or stop signs. That type of driver interaction is required. But what Super Cruise does do is it allows drivers to arrive at their destinations a little more rested, and it just allows you to enjoy the ride as a semi-spectator versus an actual driver. You can see some cars ahead are merging. We do have a slow-moving truck, and we do have some people in the left lane. So Super Cruise is probably just going to slow down, and when it's clear in the left lane, I'll get that vibration in my seat, and it'll tell me that it's going to make a lane change. So now I got the vibration, the signal, and Super Cruise is going to go ahead and get in the center lane and accelerate past this 18-wheeler for probably about 35, almost 40 miles. And we are averaging 29.1 miles per gallon. Now that's over the past 25 miles is what we've averaged. A spot mileage right now, of course we're going downhill a little bit, it's coasting, so we're around 43, 44 miles per gallon, which we know that's pretty unrealistic, and it's hard probably for you to tell, but we are on a slight decline, so we are just basically coasting. But once we level out, I usually see mileage rates anywhere from 30 to 34 miles per gallon, which again is amazing for a half-ton pickup. So you can see cars passing, and we're just maintaining our distance in the center lane, 71 miles an hour, and Super Cruise is doing a bang-up job of keeping me centered in the lane. I have full confidence in this system. Again, you have to be at the ready. You cannot move your eyes too much off the center of the windshield. Super Cruise will blink at you when that happens. If you gaze off to the side, or you're looking down at something for about 10 seconds, Super Cruise will start flashing the green light to let you know, hey, dummy, you need to pay attention. And if you don't do that, Super Cruise will disengage, and it'll turn red across here, and Super Cruise will tell you to take the wheel. If in that instance you don't take the wheel, Super Cruise will continue steering, and it will slowly, gradually come to a stop, and it'll initiate your hazard flashers. If I want to go ahead and I see I'm coming up on an exit, I don't want to take that exit, so I'm going to initiate a lane change. And what I'll do is I'll put on my left blinker and just go ahead and tap the blinker, and then Super Cruise will go ahead and get in the lane to its left. A little nervous here. Alright, so Super Cruise is telling me it's unavailable because there's a sharp curve. So it gave me the blue light, and it's telling me about the sharp curve, but I am doing radar cruise control, or the adaptive cruise control, so it's maintaining the gap in front of me. Okay, so Super Cruise is back. It gave me that initial, hey, there's a sharp curve, I can't negotiate this curve, take over. But as you can see, we're in the tunnel right now, and Super Cruise is driving. That's pretty amazing. So we're in the tunnel in Mobile, Alabama, and Super Cruise is doing again a bang up job. How cool are vehicles nowadays? This is incredible, folks. And just like that, we're accelerating and we're continuing ahead on our journey. Wow. Now it did at the beginning, and there is, I was concerned about that hairpin turn, because there is a sharp turn at the beginning, but Super Cruise identified it and said, hey, take over real quick. I can't negotiate that turn, but it gave me plenty of time. I put my hand on the wheel, and Super Cruise said, when I get ready, I'll take over again. And it did. We're gonna go ahead and turn around and head back to Mississippi. And what I'll do is I will film Super Cruise going through the tunnel the other way. All right, so we made our turn and we're heading back west to Mississippi. And we're gonna go ahead and engage Super Cruise. I have Super Cruise engaged. It's gonna speed up to 71 miles an hour what we had before, or until it reaches the distance behind this truck, and it'll hold that distance. I'm gonna go ahead and keep that gap at about 150 feet because, again, cars tend to get bunched up in the tunnel. Because the tunnel, we are doing about 71 miles an hour and in a curve. So let's see how Super Cruise is doing with this. So it's scanning everything. You can see traffic ahead of us going into the tunnel. I'm going to be at the ready. I'm doing 72 miles an hour, and Super Cruise is initiating braking. And again, we are in the tunnel, and Super Cruise is on the brakes pretty good right now, maintaining that gap in front of that 18-wheeler. All right, that was a little dicey, I'm not going to lie, but to its credit, Super Cruise maintained control. And again, I'm asking a lot of Super Cruise in that type of situation because, let's face it, we were coming through pretty fast at a good clip in a turn. All right, so we're getting ready to exit the tunnel. Again, Super Cruise maintaining that. I apologize, a lot of noise in there. Okay, so here's the turn. Let's see if Super Cruise can maintain. And it looks like it's doing a good job. It is getting a little bit well, okay, it let go. Super Cruise did let go on that. It did veer into the other lane. It didn't like it, and it gave me the blue light saying that it wouldn't maintain. So it did everything pretty well. There's the green light again. Let's go ahead and take a look at a more challenging environment. Let's see how Super Cruise performed during the rain and a storm and some less than desirable conditions. So let's go ahead and take a look at that, and we'll see how it performed under less than desirable conditions. And as you can see, the steering wheel lights up, and now we are Super Cruising. Hands-free. It's pretty awesome the way it looks. Now, as you can just see right there, Super Cruise initiated a lane change on its own. All right, so we are pulling in to the gas station where we initially fueled the truck, and on the dash it is showing an incredible 32.2 miles per gallon. Let's go ahead and crunch the numbers manually, and let's see where we're at. All right, as you can see, we're showing 32.1 now, 32.1 miles per gallon. And we'll go ahead and take a look and see what it ends up being when we manually add the fuel. All right, so we're going to go ahead and add the diesel fuel, top it off, and I don't imagine it'll take much. And we'll go ahead and add the diesel and see how much diesel we consumed and what our overall mileage is going to be. There's the first stop, and we'll wait our 30 seconds and go ahead and fill up. All right. So looks like we got a total of 4.053 gallons. All right, we're gonna go ahead and start up and see how many miles we actually traveled. So let's go ahead and scroll to the information page, or our drive summary. All right, we did a total of 131.9 miles. We will take 131.9 and divide that by 4.05, and there you have it, 32.56. So almost 33 miles per gallon is what we averaged. Just incredible for a half-ton pickup. All right, so we're right where we started, 3.5 hours later. Got to spend some time with the Denali Ultimate, a lot of windshield time. Fortunately for you, we're going to condense this into about a 30-minute video. So what did we learn? Well, a couple things. First and foremost, we learned that the GMC Denali Ultimate is an incredible luxury vehicle. There's no doubt about it. The premium interior materials, the excellent car-like ride, and the technology from bumper to bumper is pretty hard to beat. As a matter of fact, I think the Denali, in my opinion, leads the pack in the half-ton pickups. What do we also learn? Well, we also learned that the LZ0 3.0 Duramax diesel engine, the inline six, is smooth, it has excellent power, and it has extraterrestrial fuel economy. 32.5 miles per gallon, doing 72 miles per hour average, and also mixed in some city driving with that. If that doesn't blow you away, then I don't know what will. We also saw how Super Cruise reacted and how Super Cruise was implemented. Is it perfect? Well, no, it's not, but it is incredible. I believe it is incredible. I've demonstrated that Super Cruise is actually pretty smart. There are some situations where Super Cruise cannot negotiate certain things, but again, I think it excels in level 2 automation, and it really makes me excited for the future because it's only going to get better from here. I also predict that we're going to see different manufacturers' renditions, and it's going to become more commonplace, kind of like the adaptive cruise control. Adaptive cruise control was pretty much on high-end vehicles 5 or 6 years ago. Now it's pretty commonplace. In the end, the Denali Ultimate is an incredible road tripping vehicle. Honestly, I can't wait to take it on some long trips. I don't really see how you could go wrong in driving or taking a Denali cross country, and it rides incredible. Not only that, you have a bed behind you in case you, for your luggage, in case you want to buy some things, so you're not constrained in that regard either. So I hope you enjoyed the video today. I hope this educates you a little bit more on the Denali. If you're considering a GMC Sierra Denali, definitely give that 3-liter Duramax, that LZ0 engine a look. And if you like this video, please hit the like. And if you haven't done so already, go ahead and hit that subscribe. I'm trying to grow this channel. This is my 3rd video, so I'm glad to have you along. I hope to have you in the future, and I will be putting new content in the very near future, so stay tuned for that. That's all I got for today. The Major signing off. You take care of yourself, and we'll see you soon.